listen. How long is the song? For the next 4 minutes.
We press
Well, I'm not gonna record yet because I'm smoking.
Yeah. For the next 4 minutes, do whatever you need to do, and then the 4 minutes after that.
Okay. In the words of Bill Clinton. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. Okay.
Monica Lewis.
Ask me a question. Any question. Anyone.
what do you think right now? What are you thinking?
How you doing?
What am I thinking?
Right now.
I think a lot of things right now. Right now I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about. Now I'm like caught in a think loop. Like, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about. Is that what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about what I'm thinking
Why
about.
do you say or keep saying that you're a human?
I prefer to be one.
Why?
It took billions of years to make a human, and I think that most humans these days aren't human. Not like they're aliens or anything, but they try to not really relish in what it is to be human. And I think that that's like vulnerable and curious. Vulnerability and curiosity. Which is why it's important for me to be human. Failure's probably a lot to do with that, and be comfortable with failing.
If I say the word montaña or mountain, what do you think of?
I think of mountain.
Uh-huh.
I think of caves.
Caves.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived in a cave?
Yeah, I did.
How was it?
I loved it. I lived in a cave for 3 months in Arizona up Soldiers Pass. It was a beautiful cave. You had to go against the rock wall that faced the north. And it looked just like a crack in the wall. And you would go up about 10 feet into the crack, and it would open up into this like subway-like tunnel of a cave. And there was an area where I put my sleeping bag and had a tiny campfire next to it that led to this opening that like was just above the crack, so you could like look out, and it was this giant window. And then you could go onto the other side of the crack, right, which ran through the entire subway-like area of the cave, and it would lead to another crack that led onto the top of the plateau. And the first 2 weeks I was there, like the first week I was there, I would like go and like get like bottles of whiskey and stuff like that, and I would hang out with the moon, you know, like the Arizona moon, man, over the red rocks. It's just like all blue. And I would drink tons by myself and be like naked except for my cowboy boots, and I'd howl at the moon, like with a bottle of whiskey, and be like, "Rah!" I was just screaming at the top of my lungs, dude. It was so cool. And then I realized that there was like a coyote den that was like very, very close to my camp area, but like on the top of the plateau. And so they would never like come extremely close, but they would come like, you know, probably 20, 30 feet away the longer I lived there, you know, for like 3 months. And I'd feed them, but they never fucked with me or anything like that. It was really cool. They would howl every once in a while with me. I'm like, yit. You know, yit. Yeet, yeet, motherfuckers. You know?
What do you learn from living in a cave? What do you learn? Like,
There was a lot of things I learned. At the time I was living in that cave, I didn't really have a house. You know, like the relationship I was in when I moved to Arizona had failed through very devastating means. My partner went insane. I had to go back with parents and be institutionalized, and you know, I was like kind of floating around and living there, like, you know, going through the loneliness and stuff. I always felt so alone until I would like really look up and like see uncountable amounts of stars, you know, and the moon and all the monsoons and everything like that. Like, it made me feel like everything was there and that I wasn't alone, and I couldn't be alone even if I wanted to be alone. Like, it was quiet, you know, and it was like alone as far as the language of people, you know, but It was real freedom. I had no prospects and no money. And it didn't matter.
What do you eat?
Whatever I wanted. I mean, like, I had food stamps, and the store was really close to the trail, and I had friends, and we'd eat tarantulas, and
Tarantula?
yeah, dude, catch wild tarantulas, cook them over a fire, and we would occasionally eat snake and fish, like whatever I got from the grocery store. Yeah. It was really cool. It was free. Life was free.
What's a raven? If you could describe what a raven is to somebody who never has seen a raven before.
Like the bird?
Yeah.
If
Or
I
whatever.
was to describe the bird.
Mm-hmm.
A large black feathered bird with an arrow-like beak, penetrating eyes, and a quirky temperament. It's part of a hawk family, or raptor family rather. It's corvid, but there are many types of raptors all over the world that could be kind of equated to as far as like the design of the animal. It's got a straight beak. Its sound is particularly easy to pick up.
Are you a raven yourself?
I fly from time to time. Every once in a while I fly.
What are you gonna play for us tonight?
Probably do a cover and then make one up.
Okay.
Cover will probably be Dramamine by Modest Mouse.
Modest Mouse.
Modest Mouse is one of my favorite bands. As soon as I'm done with this, yeah.
Okay.
You still filming?
Yeah. We're live, baby.
Alright. It's really good to be human. When I was really young, man, a lot of people, like myself included, when I first got into like hippiedom, the kingdom of hippie, everybody wanted to be the reincarnated form of someone great or somewhere from another planet. You know what I mean? Like, my soul's not of Earth. I think, I really, like, throughout my life, contemplated what soul was, and reincarnation, and all those things. I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation in the essence that is put forth in, like, doctrines or spiritualities. I dig it more like the exchange of energies of science. But, what draws me to being human is it's an aspect of the universe, It's important to recognize that you're from Earth. That you're of the Earth. And that the curiosity that you have, like the animal within you, and like all the great things that have been human are very earthling. And they don't have to be glorious because they're like extraterrestrial. Not that I don't believe in extraterrestrials, I highly do. But like, people seek outside of themselves too much. Like whether Christ is going to come save them or aliens are going to liberate them from government conspiracies. I think it's more about the human being liberating themselves through thought and being human and being earthling. Because it only happens once, really, as yourself. And it's really cool to be human. It's very rare. Yeah.
What are the 3 main characteristics of a human?
College degree, kids, and a good job. I'm like, no. Okay.
So it's very cosmic.
Yeah, no, let's say the characteristics of a human being are...
Have you ever met one?
No, I've never met a human being.
That'd be dope, right?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Dope for who? Me, the kid, or the world? Like, the three things I think, like I said, curiosity and vulnerability are probably two major components that I really believe in. You have to be curious enough to ask answers and be vulnerable enough to accept them, and be vulnerable enough in that curiosity to recognize where you may be wrong and to evolve beyond those things. But I think it also has to do with connection, really. Probably, if I really thought about it, probably the third ingredient to that would be connection, whether it's like, connecting spiritually or community-wise. I think that science is really always different aspects of people asking, where do I fit in within mathematics with the universe, or where do I fit in with biology in the universe, or physics within the universe? Like, where does this human, or where does this thing fit within all of the levels of the net of being? I think so. Connection, and registering those connections, and pursuing connections, and understanding those things. Also, like, people really mutate what it is to be divided. I think about conflict a lot, and when I think about conflict, I think about the narratives within the sides that fight, and how each narrative told to the self is like self-righteous in its own way, or self-affirming. They don't give the chance to bridge the gap of that communication when there's conflict, because to admit that one is wrong is to lay down their armor and sword and be like, fuck, pursue the connection. And that conflict really keeps the healing away. I don't know how to describe that. I just can see that, because there's been many times where, like, I thought I was so convicted about what I believed that it never really never dawned on me the connection of all things. It was always like, how is this different than me? I feel connected. I'm enlightened. I get the pieces, they don't. But it's all connected. It's just reflections, as cheesy as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2 puffs after this, I'll put it out and we'll go. Unless you have any more questions.
What will you say? You have a camera in front of you. I know you like humor, and we say something. What do you consider funny?
Oh, dude, everything.
Everything.
Everything's funny. I think actually that humor, like comedy, people get really offended and shit. They shouldn't. They should see comedy as like an exorcism, of social stance. Like, things happen in society. People paint them down. People paint warfare. They paint atrocities. Like those things, those art forms and representations aren't supposed to be singular, or, our art is meant to move a person emotionally. And if something offends you, that's because there's an essence of that, or a seed out there. It's part of the human condition. And to use comedy at everything, to poke fun of everything, especially the monsters, especially things of atrocities, to poke fun of those things really exercises that, and, it takes away that power of the hate and the criticality of it. It's too much pressure for people. I think comedy is probably the last stance of rock and roll ever. It's real poetry, it's thought-provoking. It doesn't always have to necessarily make you laugh. You just have to see the irony of it. And life is full of irony. Look at the bumblebee. By design, it's not meant for flight. So, I feel like comedy is important. And people should pick on it less. Comedy needs a safe space too. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. What else?
Have you ever seen the ocean?
I have seen the ocean.
What do you think? Oh, how old were you when that happened?
Well, the first time I saw the ocean, I was too young to remember. Well, next time I saw the ocean, I was probably 14. The ocean, man, is like the womb of the planet. You know, it's scary. It terrifies me. I dream about it most of the time, actually. For like somebody who's like not been in it often, I dream of it all the time. And I often dream of sharks.
Sharks.
Yeah, not necessarily always afraid of them either. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I'm not. Even though in real life they would terrify the fuck out of me.
Well, so that's why you live in Utah.
I'm much more comfortable with the desert, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I at least have a chance on land in some type of way versus a grizzly bear than I would trying to outswim a fucking shark in the ocean. That thing's gonna fucking tear me to pieces. I have no chance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kill or be killed. Like, kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
The ocean fascinates me a lot. Like, I do love that it's so mysterious. I love that it's as alluring as the moon, and it's allured by the moon. I love that. Often, in my dreams, it represents the depths of psyche. Usually, the more I go down in the ocean in my dreams, the weirder it gets. And usually with reality, too. Like, the deeper you go in the ocean, the weirder it gets. So it's kind of cool that it reflects that.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite animals live in the ocean.
I saw there was a raven.
Hmm?
I saw your favorite animal was a raven.
No, that's just one of my archetypes that I've seen that I stuck with, that resonated with me the most. Like, most of my favorite animals actually exist within the ocean, like the dolphin, the octopus, jellyfish, whales. Those things are fucking trippy, dude. A dolphin can always turn off one hemisphere of its brain and never sleeps. Not only that, but there's like actual telepathy there, where in pitch black they'll send out an echolocation like music, get it back in their head, and they'll be able to shoot that relay to another dolphin, and they'll be able to see it. That depiction is crazy.
It sounds better than Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's like mental Wi-Fi, but it's, you just send sounds.
And free.
And jellyfish can grow old and then grow young again, and then grow old. Like, they're eternal. They can go back and forth between polyp and jellyfish. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to me they often they appear as a brain. If you look at like the tentacles, say, of a jellyfish, it's much like the nervous system. Because jellyfish don't necessarily have a brain. I would say that they are a brain, held together by a saline solution, much like the blood, but it's the ocean.
I met people like that too.
Yeah, and they absorb nutrients through those things, so they don't really need stomachs for that. It's just like a basic brain. People like, jellyfish have no brains. It's like, motherfucker, they are a brain. And then octopus, man, holy fuck, dude. An animal that has the capabilities of controlling pigments within its skin and its texture of skin, has 8 different areas of centralized brain throughout its fucking tentacles, that can like taste and see almost colors because of its tentacles in that intake. They're so light sensitive that I think they're called chromatophores. The chromatophores themselves can feel what light frequencies are around them to change that. They're influenced by that. It's fucking nuts. And they utilize tools. But the craziest thing about like most oceanic creatures is they don't require the necessity to alter their environment. Human beings are required to. Like fire is the thing that we had to melt metal and keep animals at bay. No claws, no teeth, really. Just ingenuity. And animals, kind of like octopuses, utilize that, but living in an area where it's like all expansive and you can survive, and not having to build territories or cities or things like that. This is a very interesting and alien concept itself. People egocentricize what it is to be human, that we're so evolved, but like seldom look at the evolutionary capabilities of so many things around us that actually might be far more capable or even conscious, like killer whales and their family units. It's just interesting to me. I love the ocean.
You feel like playing a song?
Yeah. Will you grab me a blue moon? Blue moon.
Lovers.
Blue, grab me a blue. Your name's Blue, right?
Blue.
Alright, let's try and do this here.